So Shabir Ally, he should know better than that.
He didn't call Jesus God in John chapter 1 verse 1. He was saying that Jesus is the Logos, and the Logos was with God, and this Logos had a divine quality. And this is how Wallace, in his grammar and exegesis of the New Testament, has explicated it. He's not saying, John is not saying that Jesus was God in terms of identity, but he was saying that Jesus has a God quality. And hence, the best way of translating that would be to say that Jesus was the Logos was divine, and that has been translated by some others in that way, even though Wallace himself did not translate it that way. So no, John's gospel is not saying explicitly that Jesus is God. You will not find a simple, clear, declarative statement of this type in any undisputed text in the New Testament saying that Jesus is God.
It says, in the beginning was the Word, and arche ein halagos, kai halagos ein prostantheon, kai theos, and God, kai theos ein halagos, and God was the Word. The Word was God in English syntax. And he quoted Wallace, who's a Greek grammarian, by the way. He quoted Wallace saying it doesn't really mean that he's God. It's just saying that he has a divine quality. He's kind of God-like in the sense that he's very exalted. Here's what Daniel Wallace says in his Greek Grammar Beyond the Basics, page 269. John 1:1 stresses that although the person of Christ is not the person of the Father, their essence is identical. The construction the evangelist chose to express this idea was the most concise way he could have stated that the Word was God and yet was not the person of the Father. That's Dan Wallace. That's what Greek grammarians say. The word is a preverbal predicate nominative. In fact, it's moved to the emphatic position. It's stating that Jesus is God in the most emphatic way you could possibly ask him to do so.
Shabir Ally says that you admit that John 1:1, where the word is called God, is qualitative, so that it should be divine, but that he is not God in an absolute sense. Dr. Wallace, is this properly representing you?
You know, I'm shocked that Shabir Ally would say that, because doesn't he have a bachelor's degree in biblical studies?
Yep.
He's supposed to be an Islamic exegete. In other words, he's supposed to know how to understand the words that somebody writes and their context. And I spend 15 pages in my Greek grammar talking about what's called Caldwell's rule and its relevance for John 1:1 in my grammar that's about 850 pages long. And he should know better than to say those things. He's half right. I do say that it is qualitative, and that means that it should be translated perhaps as divine. Now, frankly, if I say it's translated divine, that in no way is suggesting that Jesus is less than full deity. In fact, what it does is it says he's different from the Father. That's what that qualitative force means. The word order here in Greek is such that it affirms Trinitarian theology, that the Father and the Son have exactly the same essence, but they are not the same person. If the order had been the Word was the God, where you actually have the article the in front of God, that would be Sabellianism. That is, the Word is the same as the Father.
Yep.
But if you have, what you actually have in Greek is theos, God, ein, was, halagos, the Word. But Greek grammar requires the article, the noun with the article to be the subject, so it should be translated, the Word was God. But God, the predicate nominative, is thrown forward in the sentence for emphasis. If it were to come after the verb, then that would be Arianism, as Luther says. If it came after the verb, it would mean the Word was a God. What John writes is against Arianism and against Sabellianism. And what I like to say is that what John wrote here in 4 words is the most concise way he could possibly have written that Jesus Christ is essentially the same as the Father in his being, but not identical in his person. It's a beautiful statement. And to say that he is any less than full deity is that's a rather improper and biased reading of what I've written.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was divine, which would be the best way of translating it. But Daniel Wallace, an expert on translation, says we won't use it that way, though Moffat gave it that rendering, because nowadays people think of divine as meaning many things. Many things can be divine. Angels can be divine, and so on. And of course, we might add that somebody may eat a chocolate cake and say that this is divine. So because of the ambiguity of the term, he shies away from it. But he emphasizes that the statement there is a qualitative statement. Jesus has this kind of divine quality, not that he is God.
And to say that he is any less than full deity is that's a rather improper and biased reading of what I've written. So Shabir Ally, he should know better than that.